Last Monday, President Obama signed 5 proclamations with the Oval Office designated some of the most important landscapes and places in America to celebrate for future generations. One of them was this home at this place in Ohio for the honors of Colonel Young and the Buffalo Soldiers. At the same time, signed a proclamation designating Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad as a national monument in Maryland. First state of Delaware in the state of Delaware as a new national park. And then 2 BLM national monuments, one in the San Juan Islands in Washington State, the other in northern New Mexico, Rio Grande del Norte. All those 5 are now part of our national landscape system, part of our National Park Service. This becomes the 401st unit of the national park. And the importance of telling the story of Colonel Young and the march of America towards a more perfect union is told here in this place today in the same way as it's told in so many of our places of our National Park Service. In addition, this is also part of the economic revival across the United States of America. We know that through tourism and outdoor recreation and preservation, some 9 million jobs a year are created. Wherever we have a national park or national monument, significant economic infusion comes into the area. We expect that in the decade ahead, 2 to 3 million jobs will come to the United States as we become the top travel and tourism destination of the world. That is a major priority for the President of the United States. And we are fortunate that as we celebrate these monuments, we're celebrating them with the leadership of Director John Jarvis, who brought his vision to making sure that the National Park Service was relevant to all of America, inclusive of all of America. And he will be the Director of the National Park Service, continuing on helping us to the centennial of the national parks, which we celebrate in 2016. So I would like him to make some opening comments, and then we'll take some questions from the press.
Thank you, Secretary Salazar. As he indicated, the National Park Service takes care of now 401 units of the system in every state in the country. We solved that problem with the addition of first state national monument in Delaware. Delaware was the last state to get a unit designated. You know, most people think of the national parks as the big grand landscapes like the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone and Yosemite. But we also take care of this country's most important historical sites as well, the Civil War battlefields, the Revolutionary War battlefields, presidential homes, and places of where this country really was forged in the hottest fires. And we particularly are interested in places that tell the story of sort of the march towards this country really achieving its goals as a more perfect union, a place that where all individuals can rise and achieve their goals. And certainly the story of Colonel Young tells that story of an extraordinary individual that rose to the highest possible rank in the U.S. Army at the time and demonstrated perseverance in light of the racism of that period. An extraordinary individual who also served at one time as the acting superintendent of Sequoia National Park. So he's sort of one of us in many ways, and we're very, very proud that the President would use his powers under the Antiquities Act to designate this national monument, make it a unit of the National Park System, and we take that responsibility very, very seriously. We are here now, and we are here forever. We're in the perpetuity business, and we are here to tell this story, not just of this home, that it was a part of the Underground Railroad, but the entire story of Colonel Charles Young. And we hope to inspire new generations to look to him as an inspirational leader.
Thank you, John. I would be happy to take any questions from the press.
Well, Mr. Secretary, on your watch, the BP Deepwater Horizon tragedy happened. And recently we just had 2 major oil spills on land, as it were. Do you have any thoughts relating those two and the contrast between fossil fuels, green energy, and whether the President should approve or disapprove of the XL pipeline?
Let me say, first of all, we have in this administration, under this President's leadership, made tremendous strides on energy security for the United States of America. We are importing less oil than at any time in modern history. We're at the cusp of achieving a reality of energy independence for America, and it's part of the implementation of an all-of-the-above energy strategy, which does include oil and gas. We also have doubled renewable energy in just 4 years we are bullish about renewable energy and its future. Now, with respect to accidents that do occur, industrial accidents, they will occur. The BP oil spill was not something that anybody wanted, but it happened. The spill that occurred yesterday from a pipeline, obviously nobody wants those things to happen. So one of our North Stars has been to try to make sure that everything that we're doing in the development of our energy world is done in a safe way. With respect to the Keystone Pipeline, that's a matter which is still very much in process at the Department of State, and Secretary Kerry and his team will be working through that process, and I really don't have any comment on that at this point.
Would you talk about the benefit to this area, having this house? I mean, it's on the map. It's nationally recognized. How would that help this area in terms of tourism, quality of life, businesses, help it grow?
The state highway that goes through here, everybody that goes through the state highway will now know about this place because of the huge global network that our National Park Service has, and we do have the best National Park Service in the world. This place will now be part of that global information network. And so people from throughout the world, when they come to the United States of America and they're thinking about traveling somewhere to Midwest, they'll say, yes, Cuyahoga National Park is a great place to go. But there's also this wonderful national monument for Colonel Young, and we're going to go down there too. John?
Yeah, if you saw over there, there is the, now there is this Colonel Charles Young Buffalo Soldier's stamp for the passport. And there are an army of individuals out there that want to get that stamp on their passport, that they have been to this unit of the National Park System. And as a consequence, they will stop in the communities here. They will fly into the airports or drive. They will eat in the restaurants. They will shop. We can absolutely document that for every dollar we invest in a place like this, there is $4 the return to the economy. And the great thing about the national parks is that they're distributed across the country in rural communities. Those dollars that are spent are right there in those communities. So I think there will be great benefit to this community. Also, there's a sense of pride that comes from a place like this, to tell this story, to link this story to the broader American experience elevates the community as well.
Other press questions?
With a little help from your former members in the Senate, Sally Jewell will take on leadership of Interior here, hopefully very soon. Have you had a chance to speak with her, and what are the challenges that you would tell her that she will face her when she takes over?
I have spent a lot of time with Sally and have known her for many years. I think the President made an outstanding choice for Secretary of Interior, and very proud of his choice, and we're very proud to be doing everything we can to get her confirmed in the Senate, which I expect will happen shortly here, perhaps even as soon as next week. Her biggest challenges, frankly, are the same challenges that we face in Interior, and so much of that is based on the fiscal crisis that we're still dealing with. And we're going to go through a time period here where common sense and reason will prevail. The President has put forward an agenda that deals with the fiscal crisis of the United States for the long term. We need some help from the Republicans, especially in the House, to come on board so that we stop the stop and go and all of the upheaval that has been happening by going from crisis to crisis. You know, I speak a lot around the country, as I have for many years, and I'd like to remind people, including the people in this great Buckeye state of Ohio, that when 2008 was here, and I was in the U.S. Senate when we came into office in 2009, we're losing 650,000 jobs a month that first year. We've come back. Ohio is coming back. The country is coming back in so many different ways. But part of it is dependent on us having a government that does in fact function. And for those of us who have traveled in places like Iraq and Afghanistan and places that are very unstable around the world, we know that our government provides huge stability to the democracy of the United States. And so we're seeing that we're going through this period of self-examination about what our future should be. And I would say we're going to be okay. I mean, I have great faith that we'll be okay. And I have great faith, frankly, because the President's leadership combined with a great group of people that will continue to serve in his administration, including Sally Jewell.
You can do one more question.
Actually, I was just going to ask you to reiterate the selection of the significance of these 5 sites and your personal thoughts on this maybe last tour as your Secretary of Interior.
You know, it's a capstone for me. You know, I've worked a lot on thousands of projects in my lifetime as Colorado Attorney General, as a U.S. Senator, and as Secretary of Interior. This is my last press event, probably, of this nature that I will do in what has been 15 years of service to others, of service to the public. And so as we have celebrated First State Delaware, Harriet Tubman, Rio Grande del Norte, the San Juan Islands, and now Colonel Young and the Buffalo Soldiers here in Ohio, it is a point in my life where I am very much at peace and very comfortable. Don't know what the future yet will bring, but feel that I've had a good tour of duty, and I think I have brought some of the service inspired by those who came before me, like Colonel Young, to the work that I have done at the Department of the Interior. And this particular place, I think, like so many places across America, I often have said this in many speeches and conversations that I've had, you know, John Jarvis and I and Bob Stanton and others, that we have a long ways to go still in telling the story of all of America. You know, when we look at the National Register of Historic Landmarks, which are the most important places that we recognize, the highest levels next to the national park, out of some 2,600 designations that have been given through the history of the country, less than 8% of them celebrate and recognize the history of women, African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans combined. And so part of Director Jarvis' agenda in making sure that we are bringing places like Colonel Young and the Buffalo Soldiers onto the map with the great assistance of Bill Mulhall and the National Parks Foundation is a part of making our parks relevant to all of America with no exceptions. And so this is a milestone in that regard. Maybe we'll take one more from over here.
Oh, I was just going to ask you...
You'll get the last question.
As a national park, does this site get any kind of investment, you know, financially or improvements that might be on the agenda for the house or the grounds?
As a Secretary of Interior, it's always my honor to be able to turn it over to
There is a request in the President's budget, which will be released, I believe, next week in the fiscal 14 budget for a base operation budget here at the Colonel Young Hall. So yes, it will get funding.
And I would just add one quick thing to that. You know, these monuments are hugely significant, and they're economic engines for the local communities. So you'll see jobs that will come to this area of Ohio in large part because this monument has been designated. And the same thing is true for the other monuments that I spoke about. Because of the great work of philanthropists, the Trust for Public Lands, the National Parks Foundation, and so many others, we essentially have created these units at this point without significant cost at all to the United States of America. So we've done some great things here for the economy and making sure that taxpayers are being protected, recognizing that we still have tough fiscal issues that we're dealing with on a national level that go beyond the National Park Service, beyond Interior, to the whole set of fiscal issues currently under discussion. Thank you all very much.